Hi friends, I welcome you all to my channel Electricity Market in India and to those who has enrolled to the CSR course. This is a supplement which we are adding to that course where we are interviewing the NGOs who are actually working on field in Indian states and helping the underprivileged. So I'm honored today to have Mr. Deepak Sharma with me, who is a veteran power sector professional and who has spent a substantial part of his career into the CSR projects. So I would rather ask himself to explain the CSR projects, what he is involved in. But just to give a quick introduction, that I have been associated with Udayan Ghar or Udayan Care, which the NGO which he supports for the last 5 years, and a part of my corporate career has been into supporting few of the NGOs, and this NGO is very close to my heart. So over to you, sir. If you can please explain to us about yourself and the NGO which you are supporting.
Sure. So thank you, Rajiv, for this opportunity. And straight without any mincing any words, let me share with you that my journey with Udayan Care started in 2009. So it's now been 11 years. The initial 4 years were as a part-time volunteer while I was working with one of the Tata Group companies. And last almost 7 years, it's like a full-time 24/7 with Udayan Care. Udayan Care is basically, and now I am a trustee on the board of Udayan Care since November 2019. So this is a brief about me. Yes, I worked for almost 31 years in the corporate sector through various organizations, be it Indian public sector, NTPC, where I started my career, and then worked in multinationals like ABB, Alstom, and then Indian corporates like the Tatas and the Reliances of the world. And finally, in 2013, I quit from a reasonably senior position in Tata Teleservices, and now with Udayan Care since 2013. So, and I'm totally in a voluntary capacity. So obviously I am not claiming or charging anything. It's purely my own voluntary choice and desire through which I'm trying to contribute to whatever little I can for the organization. And why I came into the social sector, my dream, you can say an inspiration was Mother Teresa in terms of service to humanity. So that's the starting point. So that's how the dream crept into my thoughts. And coming to Udayan Care basically is a 26-year-old NGO and set up in 1994. And primarily we have a couple of programs and we are working with children and adults. That's the primary segment of the stakeholders for us. And our vision statement is where young life shine. So Udayan Care's vision statement, which we finalized in 2019, we reworked and finalized again, is where young life shine. So we have, that's a couple of programs. The first program was the Ghar program, where we started in 1996. And when I say Ghar program, Ghar is a Hindi word for a home. So we run homes for orphan and abandoned children. And the concept or the USP for running these homes is what we call mentoring of these children as parents. So today we have 17 homes, 15 in NCR, one in Jaipur, one in Kurukshetra. And I and my wife are mentor parents to one of the homes in Greater Noida. Today I have got 37 girls in that home, the youngest being 10 years, going into a leading public school, studying in class 4. And the eldest is 21 years, going into final year of college at the Delhi University College. So the organization's, as I said, main focus is education. It could be academic education or it could be a vocational education. So focus is definitely on imparting skills so that by the time the girl or the boy, as the case may be, turns 20, 21, he or she is ready to integrate with the society, get into the society, start working. And our relationship across these homes is lifelong, where we do marriages of the children. They become alumni after marriage or once they move out of the homes, and then continue to be part of the family for lifelong.
Great, sir. So thank you, sir, for the brief introduction. And just to add on to what Mr. Deepak has said, is if anyone, any corporate or an individual wants to contribute to the cause of women education and empowerment with Udayan Care, the links are given in the comment box and the description. You can always be in touch with them and see how you can help out the cause. Sir, moving on to the second thing is that what we would like everyone wants to understand is how Indian corporates support these causes, and how has been your experience?
So Rajiv, just to let you know, I touched upon one of the programs. There are a couple of other programs where we provide higher education for girls from economically weaker section from class 11 till graduation. We run our own skilling centers where we impart courses related to IT and tally, graphic designing, and job specific courses are being run across these centers. And our annual budget is roughly in the range of 16 to 17 crores across all these programs. And let me share with you that we don't have any internal source of revenue. So almost 90% of the funding comes through the corporates. It could be a foreign corporate or it could be an Indian corporate because we are registered with FCRA also. And roughly you can say about 8 to 10% comes through individual donors. So basically we are a 100% donor driven organization with absolutely zero funding from the state government or the central government. So as I said, repeating again, 90% from the corporates.
Corporates. Great, sir. So coming on to the corporate part, as we have already mentioned that there are many big industrial houses who supports these causes. Now, as an NGO who is running so many centers in India and across, what do you see is the biggest challenge today to run an NGO in India?
So today, let me tell you, Rajiv, that even with the current NGOs, like we are a 26-year-old NGO, we are registered under the Trust Act, like almost majority of the NGOs, either they are registered under the Trust Act or the Societies Act. And the biggest challenge today we are facing in the changing scenario is that the government is coming up with a new legislation, and where the Companies Act, amendment to Companies Act is under draft stage, and where there are certain requirements which will basically put a lot of pressure on NGOs like us to get the CSR funding. Giving you a small example about it, under the Companies, Section 8 of the Companies Act, every NGO is supposed to register under that Section 8. And let me share with you, as I said, 70 to 80% NGOs today are registered under the Trust Act or the Societies Act. So this would become, going forward, going to become a big challenge to re-register under the Companies Act, and how the overall scenario of the CSR funding, because the amendment, draft amendment says that companies or the organizations registered under the Companies Act Section 8 only will be eligible for the CSR funding. So this obviously is a big challenge, which already you can say the representation from hundreds of NGOs has gone to the government. So the legislation is still not passed, but let's hope that we get some reprieve from the.
So do you see that this kind of filtration process being done by the government is to eliminate a few CSR companies who were actually not working in field, or maybe claiming to be a CSR house or a trust, whatever?
Rajiv, yes, that's a very good question. And I think, and in my view, yes, to a certain extent, yes, that this is possibly government is trying to regulate things more stringently, so that today, as you rightly said, a lot of organizations are, a lot of NGOs are running on paper, and the funds are getting, sorry to say, siphoned out in different ways and means. But then I think for organizations like Udayan Care and many others like us, there has to be certain other parameters also, like so that we are not targeted, or we are, organizations like us are not targeted or get really impacted for this
because of the wrongdoings of others.
Yes,
right,
exactly.
Right. Sir, coming on to the final questions, if I say, is that how do you see a career in CSR for an entry level student, if you have to mentor him? Or as I personally seen, is that CSR is not only about the humanitarian part; it is more of a project management, and the challenges remain same if you are doing any project in any corporate setup. the challenges are same if you are doing a CSR setup. Only exception being that the CSR projects are not profit driven. It's made out of the humanitarian part. So any message to any students who wants to have a career in this field?
See, Rajiv, let me share with you. I will be primarily restrict to what we are doing in our organization. Yes, maybe till 10 years back or 15 years back, there were different means and ways the organization was running. But today, a lot of corporates are getting into that corporate organizational structure, right? Where we have a CEO, a CEO, and then you have the complete organogram where every function is being driven by a certain level of people. And because today, the corporates also are looking at NGOs to in terms of monitoring and evaluation, right? Today, monitoring and evaluation has become a big buzzword. And earlier, people used to say, "Chalo, bhai, let's give some funding to them and do whatever." Just cover up. But today, the impact analysis has come up in a big way, and these are being closely monitored. And the message to the students, let me tell you, yes, we have got MBAs, we have got people from all backgrounds. But let me share with you, obviously, we can't compete with these salary structures of a big corporate house. But yes, one thing for sure, I would say that anyone willing to work in this sector or planning to come to this sector should have some sort of a passion or a heart for this type of work, because the amount of, you can say, the involvement, the satisfaction, the job satisfaction one gets when you see that your actions, your contribution is adding value to the society at large. So that also is very important for anyone who is willing to or who is planning to come to this sector. As I said, there has to be some level of passion for this social work.
Underline the whole cause, yeah.
Yeah, and it could be in any cause. It could not necessarily that what we are doing. It could be for environment. It could be for old age. There's so many areas. It could be for water reservation, conservation, and X number of things. But yes, one should have a very strong heart and passion for this type of work.
Right, sir. Right, sir. So friends, I hope you all have a very good and brief idea about how a full-fledged CSR agency works in India. Udayan Care is one of that organization which has been running for the last 26 years very successfully, and they have actually changed the life of many underprivileged girls and childs. And they had a wonderful career once they have entered this shelter home being run by Mr. Deepak Sharma and his wife. So I thank you, sir, again for taking time out from your busy schedule for us.
Rajiv, just I missed, I think, one point, just to let you know, we have almost touched about 35,000 lives across different programs over the last 25 years of our existence.
Great, sir.
And that is a direct impact. Indirect, if you look at the families and others, it could be run into some figure of millions.
Great, sir. We wish you all the best, sir. And I hope
thank you so much, Rajiv.
Seeing this video, a lot of people will contact you and would like to contribute towards this cause, and your CSR organization will grow more in future. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, Rajiv. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So Rajiv, the recording is done. So just we can chat a couple of minutes.
Sir, just